this is something that has dogged him even at Chelsea. He had situations where he was so blunt and so honest. And in this case, I don't even think he was being blunt and honest. He was just being silly.
Yes.
After the game, he did a two-way with Sky Italia, and Fabio Capello made the point that your build-up play in this game, and for those who don't know, Juve didn't have a single shot on target. Your build-up play was so slow. You looked so lethargic. It was so predictable. He's like, I was watching City and Real Madrid and the other one, and they were going 3 times as fast as you. And he says, what's the problem? And Sarri replies, and I think he said this in the press conference afterwards as well. Sarri came out and he replies, yeah, I noticed too that it was slow, which is weird because in training the day before, they were going really fast. I don't quite know. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe they're the problem. Now, I love honesty. I hate all the coach speak and all the stupid crap that people say. I hate even more the people are supposed to be analysts who just parrot and repeat everything people say. So maybe you're right. Maybe you don't know what the answer is, but this was one situation where you need to work a little better at explaining. You need to think about it. It is literally your job. If they're going fast in training, I mean, leaving aside the obvious fact that in training, you're not in a game situation. But when your team plays fast, and they have played fast at times and with accuracy and precision, I think of the Roma game of the Coppa Italia, but I need to come up with a new example because I keep bringing up that example.
The level of the opponent at that point as well.
Yeah, although Roma, Lyon, I don't think there's a huge difference though. But I mean, just focusing on Juve, they were moving the ball quickly regardless, right? But when it's been happening for so long, you're the coach. You've been coaching for 40 years. You should have some ideas. You should have some better theories if you're going to come out and say something like that. Otherwise, just say, well, we had a bad day, move on. It's 1-0, we can turn it around, right? So you either say nothing, but once you go in and you admit that, oh, yeah, we were playing too slow, you got to give me some kind of fix or some kind of reason.
I think it's worse that he admitted that he can't seem to get into his players' heads to move that ball faster. The fact is he's basically admitting the players are not even listening to him at this point, or that his instructions are not being followed the way that he has trained them to. And I think for me, that's a bigger problem because we went back to this. Does he have the authority? Are they listening to him? Because it doesn't seem like it.
But I do think with Sarri, like sometimes he gives off this weird lack of confidence. And I don't know if that comes from his path of how he's become a very successful manager. You know, he is an underdog. He actually is an underdog. He's not Antonio Conte, who had a great footballing career and went to be a manager. Sarri came from circumstances which weren't things expected of him. But I feel like the way he talks, that insecurity feels genuine. Like, it feels like he actually doesn't believe in it.
Well, then you're not the right fit.
Well, I agree with you, actually. Yeah, but I thought from the beginning his face didn't fit. That's always been... That is not a new question. That was something we asked, I think, at the very first day of the season on this podcast. Does Sarri's face fit in Turin? And I've never thought it did.
That's very fair. Like, I don't have an issue with the guy having genuine insecurity. I mean, people who are not insecure, 99.9% of the time, are freaking idiots and morons and deluded people, right? If you're not insecure, you've got no ability for introspection. That's the reality. The difference, though, is how you show it and when you show it, right? And I think what this guy needs is media training. Yeah. And it goes beyond that. It's not just that, but just stupid things he said in the past over time. But I want to turn it back to the players a little bit because I take your point, Mina, that maybe the players aren't listening to him. He can't get them to move the ball quickly. That said, his players aren't idiots. They're supposed to be leaders. There are veterans in there, people like Bonucci and whatever else. It should be pretty obvious that if I can move the ball quickly and accurately, I will get myself into a position to shoot on goal and score goals, and I'll get the ball to Dybala and Ronaldo quicker, and they can do something, right? So the question is, are the players choosing to play slowly?
Who are these players? This is what I'm trying to explain. So for me, for a long time, I've not been a fan of Pjanic. I've said this on this pod several times. The other person that I wasn't a fan of was Dybala, who I think Sarri is the only player he's managed to actually develop. But yet both of them, my issue under Allegri was that at times They didn't read the play accurately enough, and when they were hassled by the opponent, they didn't know how to overcome that very well enough. Whether it was contact when it came to Dybala, or when it comes to Pjanic, it's energy or whatever it is. You look at the rest of the game and the rest of the people there, Bentancur, I mean, you can't say he's a leader. Like, he is a guy who still needs instructions.
Sorry, I take your point about the failings of the individuals, but
there isn't the leaders that you're talking about anymore. That's what I don't believe.
We're talking about playing fast, right? Yeah. Ramsey was at Arsenal for many years.
No, you're saying as in they should be well equipped enough to read the situation on their own and move the ball faster.
It's such an obvious thing in football, right? I mean, I'm sure some of these guys are idiots. Others, though, are not, right? They watch football. They've played football all their lives. It's not exactly a novel concept that if I play really, really slowly at 2 miles an hour, the opposition can get into position and I won't be able to play through them.
Yes,
right?
but fear is the factor here.
So you think they play slow because they're scared that Lyon's going to take the ball off them and it's a confidence thing?
I think they don't feel safe in their formation. I think that what they felt safe in is to take advantage of opponents before, and the fact that they had the superiority complex before was something that was instilled in them because they believed in themselves. I think right now they don't really understand what they're doing. They're sort of halfway in between being an Allegri team and halfway. It's just simply, the fact is when they lose possession, they fall deep. It's absolute antithesis to what Sarri wants. The fact that they continue to do that shows that they don't really feel safe in his tactics, nor do they believe in them entirely, but they're also trying to do something that helps him because, they can't play the Allegri way without Allegri. So now they're just stuck in between, and that fear and insecurity is causing all sorts of problems for them, in my opinion, which is why you get these nonsensical performances. Ronaldo giving halftime speeches that reach no one. We're asking Cuadrado to all of a sudden be a good player. Why is he even chosen to play in the Trident?
Wow. So Cuadrado, I actually think, has a massive...
Why was he not the right back? Danilo was a better option.
I think Cuadrado has a massive value to this team, but it's not playing where he played against Lyon. He should be at fullback.
Absolutely. And Bernardeschi's sitting on the bench.
And this was a group with enough promise in it collectively that you felt comfortable as a squad saying goodbye to Emre Can in January, right? You didn't even put him in your original Champions League squad, okay?
Yes.
So I'm not saying this is a perfect midfield because I'm sure it isn't. And I think in terms of balance, they could do much more. But this is on the manager. Like, there is enough talent in this squad to be a lot better than the 7th best team in France that's missing half its team.
All right, we're all in agreement that Juve can... Oh, sorry, no, first, the 2 penalties, because I think we need to mention that.
Oh, okay.
Cristiano and Dybala. Cristiano, no? It's a no for me.
Mina's got a face in these. It's very straightforward for me.
I'm on the fence with
this,
so I don't know.
I think
that brings us on to another stupid thing.
I think it was definitely a Dybala penalty. To me, the defender, with Ronaldo, no, not at all. Yeah. But with Dybala, to me, that's a hard arm across the chest of a forward. Even if he's already a little bit off balance, you can't do that as a defender.
I'm with you.
And that should be a penalty.
Well, the other thing, too, people say, like, but he's going backwards. Yeah, because if you're in the box and there's a defender behind you, it's a natural thing to go back to try to create space. Yeah. So... and then the guy drags him back.
So you definitely think Dybala is a penalty?
I think so, yeah. I think, that should have been, it wouldn't have been a draw.
Doesn't mean they deserve it.
Doesn't mean they deserved it at all.
It's a penalty.
But the other interesting thing in the context of Serie A and Comiso and all Juve's history with referees is Maurizio Sarri, just bad comms, right? Maurizio Sarri came out afterwards and he's like, yeah, those 2 penalties, well, those are the 2 penalties that we don't get in Europe and that we would have gotten in Italy. Now,
oh my God!
I know what he's seen.
Sarri said this. I didn't know this.
I know what he means, but you can't say stuff like that because it's like giving all your enemies in Italy, of which there are many, in light of your history, it's like giving them a freaking hammer to beat you over the head with. You can't say things like that, even if you believe them.
We talk a lot about the midfield choices and how much they chose to pay players. But really, Sarri was the man that they chose to take this team on, considering the way he speaks, considering all the faux pas that he's done, considering the fact that he has a style of play and there's not a single ball player in that midfield other than Pjanic, who never will reach the mythical figure of 150 passes. It is abysmal.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.